coders of Reddit. How do you politely refuse your friend's $1 million app idea? I never want to discourage genuine enthusiasm for an idea, so instead of saying too hard, too expensive, already been done, etc., I treat this as an opportunity to teach my friend, co-worker, board member or relative, all true examples, to take a stack of index cards and draw a picture of the app starting with the opening screen. Then use a red pen to draw the UI action that would lead to the next index card where they draw that screen. I tell them to draw as many screens as needed to illustrate how it works. If they can get past this step, they have a much better idea of the flow and complexity of the app from the viewpoint of the user. This process teaches them an enormous amount about software dev. I tell them that they would have to have this card design rock solid before talking to an app dev, and if they did it and brought it to a developer, the developer would cry at having such an organized client. My specialty is on the server side of things. If that doesn't work, I show them my website from the late 90s that hasn't been updated since. They usually take the hint pretty quickly that I don't have a UI bone in my body. Edit. For those still paying attention, it's kindly ignore the Mensa crap. I realized it was pretty douche long ago, but haven't gotten around to updating. It looks like I did update very sporadically up until 2004. There are lots of broken links. I ask them to watch How to Build an App, a series by Tom Scott. It starts out with, if you think you want to build an app, you shouldn't. It continues in this vein, while showing you exactly how to do it. If they still want to do it, we'll talk. Usually by going to the App Store and finding 10 versions of their app idea that already exist. Ask for a salary saying that you are not prepared to be their co-seer, they will back off instantly. Once a guy gave me his brilliant idea for boat sharing, like Zipcar but for boats. All I said was, you know you can already rent a boat, right? Anyway, that was back around 2012 and now apparently there are boat sharing apps, so I guess I missed the boat on that opportunity. I refuse to work with friends and family, so I just tell them that I do not want to transform the relationship into a professional one. Dude, that sounds insane. I'm slammed with work right now, but when I get a chance you can show me what you've worked on. Spoilers, they haven't worked on it, you will never be free, and the app will never get made. $1 million app ideas generally fall in one of 4 categories. 1. It already exists. 2. It will require insane server power and the money to pay for it. 3. It's illegal. 4. Computers don't work that way. For option 1, I show them the 12 apps that are better than their idea. For point 2 and 4, I get technical and start throwing costs around until they change subject. For option 3, I say it's illegal. So, I created a rather popular product for connecting lights together on a movie set several years ago. At one point, I had this random guy Jeff call me out of the blue, saying they got my number from someone on set. He wanted to make a lighting control app with all kinds of new innovative features and a cool layout, and had never made an app before. Didn't know anything about, well, anything. He asked me what he should do. He's never made an app before, doesn't code, etc. I leveled with him that he was going to have to learn Swift, OBJC, HTML5, etc. Have a good understanding of ARPANET and SACN protocols, do tons of market research, develop every aspect of a navigational style and layout, seek out and download tons of various libraries, get a graphic designer, etc. Oh, and about 100,000 capital for expenses, just a sampling of the thousands of things he would have to do to even remotely entertain creating an app. I was trying to be accurate, but also convey a sense of magnitude for the project he was attempting to start. He simply said okay, cool, thanks, in an enthusiastic tone and hung up. I figured that was the end of it, and that he would go off and do something more practical. Something like 5 months later, I get a call, hey, it's Jeff. So I did all the stuff you told me, it's going along well, and I have a beta, just need a GFX designer now. Want to try it out? The crazy MF went off and actually did it. The product is out now, by the way. It's called Blackout. It does what it set out to do, and lighting programmers gladly pay a small fortune to have that functionality on an iPad. Sometimes it works out. Edit. He's not a Redditor that I know of, but he approved of my telling of this when I shared it with him. Edit. Since a few people have asked, you can get it here. Lighting console at 1,414,562,959. ls equals 1 main page is here. www.blackoutapp.com. That sounds like a great idea. Here are some resources online where you can learn everything you need to make it happen. Not a developer, but I'm a product manager who works with a development team in which I act like a scrum master business analyst in addition to product MGMT small company, so lots of hats. I usually don't politely refuse. I just start asking the questions that they'll need to know the answers to before anything gets built. These questions might differ based on whatever the app is supposed to do, but usually when you start asking about specifics, people realize they don't have even 5% of the information they'd need to actually do what they think should be easy. If they're a developer, then I usually ask more business related questions. If they are a big idea person, then I usually ask more technical questions. Regardless, it usually works one of two ways: or this person actually has a good idea and we can workshop it together and maybe something comes of it, and maybe not, or B, they realize that taking their idea and making something out of it isn't going to be a weekend job and they change the subject rather quickly. Who is the target user? How many of them exist? What are each of them willing or expected to pay? TAM/TSM projections. You can usually roll up a few numbers to get them to a back of the napkin P&L, which is often eye-opening. What does the basic architecture look like? What web services and tools would be needed to build the thing? What type of development environment would be required? High-level requirements. What does the data model look like? And can you give me the step-by-step logic that implements it? What's the throughput on this logic look like? What does a minimally viable product or prototype look like? And how far away from the complete product is the MVP? What are the barriers for others to enter the space once you've got this built? How do you acquire the first 10 users? First 100? What are your competitors like today? What are they likely to look like by the time you get your thing built? I find that if I try to tell someone why their idea wouldn't work, then they argue with me. However, if I assume the idea will work and start collecting the information about how it will work, then people will quickly bail on any idea they haven't really worked on. If they have really worked on it and can answer the basic questions, then I usually ask if we could set up some scheduled time to talk about it and enjoy the rest of the dinner party game, whatever we are currently doing.